Well, hello there again. Here's what we're going to do for assignment 1. I'd like you to take a read section, or chapter 6, section 1. Take notes on the reading, also take notes based on this lecture. And I'd like you to do these practice problems 3 through 11 and do them all, and do a good job on them. This is what we're going to learn today, and I'm going to do this a little differently than the book. So really pay attention, take notes on this lecture, then read the book and really think hard about what we're going to be talking about, because this is the most important stuff, I think, of the entire school year. We're going to talk about forces and how forces are really interactions between objects. Then we're going to talk about Newton's 3 laws that describe forces and how they behave. Then we're going to talk about free body diagrams. And these are pictures that we're going to draw that show forces on objects. And these free body diagrams really allow us to solve all kinds of problems. And it's really the foundations of mechanical and civil engineering. Then we're going to make a list of the different kinds of forces. We're going to classify different forces that are going to be in the various problems we're going to solve. Now this is a lot, so I'm probably going to split this into 2 or 3 different videos. So hopefully it'll work out. Now, what is a force? Okay, so what is force? And here's how I define what a force is. A force is an interaction between objects and it's an interaction between objects that could cause a change in motion. Okay, and so I want you to think of a force as being an interaction between different objects. Okay, now here's an object, and I'm just going to do a little demonstration here. Here's just a little block of wood, and let me zoom out here so you can see it. Now, a little block of wood, okay, this isn't all that exciting, but it fits under the camera, so that's what I'm going to use. Now, there are different objects in play here. This block of wood is interacting with the table. It's also interacting with the earth itself. And of course, if I push on it with my finger here, it's now interacting with my, with my finger. I'm pushing on it. So one way of thinking about force is that a force is a push or a pull. Okay, so think about all the things that are interacting with this block of wood. Let me draw a little picture. Here's the table that it's sitting on. Here's our little block of wood. And, of course, the table is anchored to the ground. And this is just the earth down here. So this is the table, and this is the block of wood. So if I think about this thing, what are all the things that this block of wood is interacting with? Well, the block of wood is interacting with the earth. And what is that interaction? Well, this is true, that if I take this block of wood and I hold it way up here and I drop it, wow, that was exciting. Okay, so if I drop it, it's going to fall down. Well, now why is it doing that? Well, that's because there's this gravitational interaction between this block of wood and the earth itself. All the objects that make up the earth are interacting with this block of wood. It's kind of spooky. We call it gravity, and we kind of take that for granted. But look, if I release the block, it falls down. It's also interacting with the table. I mean, if I look at it right here, how come this block of wood isn't falling down towards the center of the earth? Well, that's because the table is pushing up on the block. It's not letting it fall down. So even as the earth is pulling the block of wood down, the table is pushing the block of pushing this block up, and they're canceling each other out. So there's an interaction between the table and the block of wood. So they're interacting with each other, and these interactions can cause motion. I mean, here's an interaction. It's in my hand now instead of the table, and the earth is trying to pull the block down, but my hand is trying to push the block up. Now, that push up of my hand can change the motion of the block. See? So, or it can just cancel out the interaction it has with the earth. So there's a lot of really interesting things going on here just with a block of wood being held in my hand or at rest on the table, you see. And this is what we're going to study here. Now, these forces, these interactions are vectors. Okay, forces, or these interactions, which I'm going to call forces, are vectors. Which of course means that these interactions have magnitudes, that is how much force, and they have a direction. I mean, I can push on this little block of wood, and it goes in a certain direction, right? If I push the block this way, let me zoom out so I get a better picture. If I go, there's a direction, here it's up, I can push it down, at least down on the screen, to the left, to the right, and so on. So how hard I push it, that's the magnitude, and then I have to push it in a particular direction. So force is a vector. And so what we're going to talk about next is a description of these forces. We have to describe what these forces are, and how do they behave in nature. Obviously, if I have a force and that causes the motion of the object to change, we're talking about acceleration. So what's the relationship between force and acceleration? We're going to talk about that next when we deal with Newton's laws. So the next video will be on Newton's 3 laws of motion. So go on to the next video now.